at work, we want all the time to be happy. We sometimes need to do things, or maybe even not sometimes, we need to do things which we simply don't like. But then try to find and focus on things which really bring you joy. And that's why I try to show that we don't need to be very serious all the time, that we are humans, that we don't need to wear mask of perfectionist, of not being able to joke. And I would say that this again coming with a cultural context, because I'm seeing this difference when I'm working, with different cultures, countries when I live. And this is where I learned this, that I don't need to be all the time, like very serious.
Welcome to Future Fit Leadership, a podcast for leaders at every stage who want to stay relevant in a world that keeps changing. Leadership has shifted. The pace is faster, the expectations are higher, and the future is calling for a different kind of leader. One who is human-centered, grounded, and able to balance capability with empathy. These conversations bring together global perspectives on the skills and mindsets that help people and organizations thrive. Hello and welcome to Future Fit Leadership. I hope wherever you are listening to this podcast, you are well. There are people who teach leadership, and there are people who have lived it across borders, cultures, and completely different ways of seeing the world. My guest today is one of those people. Monika Guzek has worked with leaders in more than 60 countries, helping global organizations navigate one of the biggest leadership challenges of our time. Leading people whose experiences, cultures, and perspectives are vastly different from our own. But what makes Monika's work so fascinating isn't just the countries she's worked in, it's the human stories she's collected along the way. Growing up in Poland as the country emerged from decades of communism, Monika witnessed firsthand what rapid change can do to people, communities, and ambition. Since then, she's lived and worked across Europe and Asia, studying why people think, communicate, and lead so differently, yet share many of the same hopes, fears, and motivations. She's also experienced burnout herself, not once, but twice. And those experiences have reshaped the way she thinks about success, resilience, joy, and what it really means to build a sustainable leadership career. Today, we're talking about cultural intelligence, why relationships matter more than hierarchy, what leaders consistently get wrong when managing diverse teams, and why the future of leadership may depend less on having the right answers and more on having the curiosity to ask better questions. Please enjoy this conversation with Monika. Well, hello, Monika. Welcome to Future Fit Leadership. Now, I'm excited to say all the way from Poland. We have never had a guest from Poland, but here we are. How are you today?
Hello, and I'm really happy to be with you, especially, that we had to travel through different time zones. And
Yes.
this is what you were laughing before. It's not that easy to schedule everything. And I'm good. I would say that we always compare, how we feel with the weather. So today it's sunny morning in Poland. So I can say that I'm happy, I'm smiling. But if you asked me a few days ago, I would say like, oh no, this is not the best day for me.
No, no. Well, I'm in Melbourne and it's a bit grey and dreary here at this time of the year. Melbourne is always grey and dreary. But I do want to start about with your story because you grew up in Poland during a time that it was going through some significant change. Maybe start by telling us about what that world was like for you growing up.
So, yeah, I'm saying that I'm child of free Poland. So I was born in 90. Poland, the communist collapsed in 89. So I don't know a lot of things, which my parents, for example, experienced, which my cousin experienced. And however, I was growing with all these stories
Mm-hmm.
that, there was people had to queue in to get something. There was nothing in the shops. So of course, it's not that in one day everything changed. That when I was born, everything was better. But I just don't remember these times. And
For you,
just,
it was normal growing up like that then.
yeah, for me it was normal, and to compare even the situation when my friend told me, oh, when I was a child, I my parents couldn't afford to drive through motorway in Italy. He's Italian, and I said like, I don't know what does it mean, because in the time in Poland we didn't have motorways. It's changed everything in the next 10 years, since I was teenager, I would say. So we were growing, not having a lot. I would say, we were not traveling abroad because this was not affordable.
Mm,
A few days ago, my parents went to Italy, to Trieste, and they said, like, last time we were here 40 years ago, and we were thinking for 2 days if we can buy ice creams. Now, of
yeah.
course, they can afford everything. So the time also changed for us. And I would say that, looking at how Poland changed in 36 years, so this is how old I am, it's incredible because now we are one of the, I would say, fastest developing markets
Mm.
in Europe, looking a lot in services and a lot of companies, even from Poland, now buying global companies. So I would say that now everything really looks different, but the beginnings were not that colorful.
Mm. Do you find that given where you are placed in Europe, that a lot of the work that you do or the business that's done in Poland is very global? So not, a lot of it is done outside of Poland. So it's very distributed.
I would say yes, because when I was a child, we were thinking that Poland it's not diverse at all. So
Mm,
that we are just Polish, and of course it was communist, so it was closed country and so on. However, diversity in Poland, even through regions, it's huge. It's we have different mentality, different way of doing business. Even of course, it's related to our history and to Russia and German occupation during the war, but of course even further times. And I would say that when the borders open, yes, now we have a lot of foreigners coming to work. So I would say that most of my work, even that I'm traveling and working globally, it's through Polish subsidiaries because a lot of people coming here to work. Even yesterday, I worked with the team from India, but part of this team moved from New Delhi a few years ago to
mm.
live in Poland.
It's amazing to think that that's happening now, isn't it? When, as you said, it's only been 36 years that this change happened.
Yes, it's amazing. And even a few years ago, so 5 years ago, I returned to Poland from Portugal. And now some of my friends in Warsaw, they said like Poland, it's amazing market. It's open-minded. It really changed. It's good for foreigners because it's safe. Of course, some bureaucracies, we can complain everywhere about it.
Yeah.
But generally, people want to change something, and we have this mentality of constantly improving something. So, for entrepreneurship, it's amazing.
Having worked across so many different countries yourself, how has that changed the way you see yourself and the world?
A lot. For the last years, when I returned to Poland, I was thinking, really, who am I? Like I couldn't find myself in Poland. I don't feel myself, truly Polish in the sense that, of course, this is my origin, this is where my roots are coming from. However, living in other countries, speaking other languages, of course, it influenced how I see the world. So I had to build new me in that sense and understand that not everybody from my friends, family, seeing the world in the same way. Because even the way how I'm talking
Mm,
and my directness or indirectness, of course it's related to my experience because while I was living in Germany, for example, in Poland, I could be very direct. And then when I moved to Portugal, I heard like you are too direct, you are quite rude. The same when I was living in Indonesia, I had to accept that everything has their own pace. I can't
mm,
expect Polish way of thinking. So I would say that it's changed how I see the world, how open I am, and I believe that this is also part of my job why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm translating these cultural differences into consciousness that we don't want to do something wrong to others. This is how we just see the world, and we just need to name this and find
mm.
solutions.
Probably now's a good time to tell our listeners, probably thinking this girl's traveled all over the world. What does she do? Maybe now's a good time to tell our listeners, what do you do?
Uh, I'm doing a lot of things, but what I do, I work mostly with international organizations and also expats, helping them through this or transition to new countries and finding out them in the new place or returning to the country of origin and settling down with all this, psychological aspects. Or if it's with a corporate, so of course communicate better, work better, understanding each other. So I'm saying that my purpose is to bring joy through diversity and culture is the beautiful example how we can be diverse and also looking with curiosity to each other. And
Mm.
so if one in one sentence, bringing the consciousness to the team.
I like that. Now, you've spoken about experiencing burnout twice in your career. Can you take us back to that time in your life? What was happening and what were some of the warning signs that you missed?
So the first one, it was not full burnout. I stopped it, I would say, in the middle of the stages. So around stage where I really was demotivated because I was doing not what I wanted to do. I was in the place where I felt that it's enough. So one of the, I would say, characteristic of being Polish as well and growing in a very uncertain time where was, a lot of things lacking, is that we wanted to achieve a lot. So we have these sentences, like learn and then you achieve something, that you need to work hard. So I was working like this. I was working in a corporate as a manager. At the same time, I was doing my PhD, and then I was in the board of NGO. Then I became a president
Mm,
of this NGO. So you can feel
a
it, right?
lot.
A lot at the same time. So even when a lot of people ask me like, when have you done this? Like you are quite young. I said like I have no idea. It was just the speed of the light, and it was much more survival mode, I guess. So then before I quit corporate, I started feeling this, that I couldn't sleep properly. I was constantly anxious. Of course, this influenced my relationship because I
Mm,
was moody. I had no energy to do anything. And so when I left corporate, I would say that I thought that, okay, now I'm released. I don't have these responsibilities on me. I can live slower, enjoy life. This is, do what I wanted to do. So work with people, be independent. Yeah, and then the real burnout came then. A few years after, when I returned to Poland. So I would say that it was combination of a lot of factors. It was not just my work. It was returning shock culture, which I was not aware even that I'm working in this area. I know all symptoms which might appear. I was not connecting this that
yeah.
much. And then also it came that I started working at university. So even that I knew the place for all my educational career and doing a PhD, when I started working there, and it was mismatch with organizational culture. So I would say that these three factors of returning, not really paying attention that something might return to me, some symptoms that it's not enough just to change job, and then that I was not prepared that this with this mismatch with organizational culture.
Interesting when you're talking and I was listening to you and it's like you're not recognizing the burnout in yourself, but other people see it. And I find that a lot of leaders can see burnout in other people that they might manage or, mentor, etc. They find it really hard to recognize the signs and symptoms themselves. And I've been very guilty of that. When you see some of the signs and symptoms, you just kind of go, I'll just push through it, I'll be fine. Why do you think that is? And what's your advice to leaders that the minute they see a sign or they are aware of behaviors changing, what's your advice then in terms of what they do?
So maybe we're coming one step back. So what is the reason?
Mm,
I would say, of course, the reasons might be different, but something what was in me, it was kind of assurance that this is not gonna happen to me. I
mm,
went already through this. I know everything, right? I went through the therapy. I was, so conscious. And no, then it might happen. So what we need to do, definitely listen our body,
mm,
because why mentally I was strong. I knew that I can go through all challenges, and I'm kind of unstoppable with all of my dreams because I achieved so much before. I was moving to so many countries, so with all of this I can do attitude. Then my body said no, and this was the moment where I stopped. So I would say that our body is really smart, and if body says no, you feel weaker, you feel that you can't sleep properly, you need to stop, because any other goal which we establish to ourselves, any new trip which we plan, won't bring this understanding what's going on. And I would say that a lot of people running to achieve, to get. Of course, I was also one of them, because we don't want to see what is, inside us and stop. And then we might see that there is
Mm.
some sadness, some pain. But when we face this, then yeah, we start living slower. So a lot of time I have these moments where I'm a bit disappointed or angry. It's like I could do it everything, in the past, but now I'm saying like, okay, now you can't. You need to rest more. You need to live more.
You've
Simply be
learned to
more.
say no. You've learned to say no to things, haven't you?
Yes, and you know what is interesting that I was always saying no to things,
Mm.
but my I would say challenge was that I'm so curious, I'm so courage to do things, I'm so
Mm.
excited to do new things. So it was even not that I need to say no to others. I had to learn to say no to my goals, to my dreams, and this was the biggest challenge.
Mm. Do you think that we glorify exhaustion in leadership?
I believe yes. Especially in Poland, we can say that yes, we have this culture of doing a lot, working a lot. The same, it's even in women leadership, because to show even not others but ourselves that we can. We start doing a lot. And I see this, of course, not only in Poland, but in other places too, that we take a lot on our shoulders.
Mm.
And then when we say like, no, I can't, we see this as a weakness. And I say that it's not a weakness. This is the best gift which we can give to ourselves and to our people, because I would say that example is coming always from the leader. So yes, we glorify this, and I would say we glorify this, I can do it, nothing is impossible. All of these slogans, they are great. They help us to achieve something, but we need to find balance in it.
Mm. I'm interested to know what is the, I guess, leadership arena look like for women in Poland? Are there many women running organizations in CEO leadership roles there? What does that percentage look like?
Percentage I would have to check, to be honest, but this is changing,
Mm.
and definitely more and more women are in higher positions. Even I read this week article that again the law will change and the percentage of women in the board will be higher. So the companies need to change the structure, but we can see two things. One is that, of course, the law is changing, and this is also regarding to the European Union and they law, which other countries are obligated to apply. Second, is that Polish women, we are very ambitious, and we can see this in the society. However, we are ambitious in the way that not only to do career, to be a great mothers, to be a great partners, to clean by ourselves, cook by ourselves, and so on. And there was this, I would say, stereotype, but this is in society, that women were taking too much on themselves, and we can see now that the challenge of health, this is again changing. Women start saying like, okay, we can't be perfect with everything, so let's prioritize things. I'm really happy to see this. But if we look on organizations, I would say it's more and more. Of course, it's depending on the branch, but even in transportation or high tech or production, more and more women are in higher positions, which makes me happy that we
Mm.
start breaking the ceiling, the glass ceiling, which was there for years.
Mm. And that would have happened, as you said, you're only 36 years old and you've lived through that change that you went through. And I imagine there are a lot of young women your age who lived that change, but culturally their environment made them really determined to be highly successful.
Yes, there's a huge percentage, and that's why I believe that we attract people, to work on similar topics. So I have a lot of young leaders. I mean, not that young anymore. I'm still thinking, around 20s
Oh,
that I
36
am,
is
but
young. Trust me,
I
36
know,
is
I
young.
know. But anyway, we are saying each time when I'm coming to work with somebody and I see like 15 plus, experience, I'm like, oh, somebody will come really mature. And it's like, oh, we are the same age. I'm like, yeah, true. And yes, so I would say that this is the case that there is a lot of women like this who wanted to achieve something, to wanted to be feasible, to have their own career. And I can see even through all my clients or my friends that people choose two paths. Or, firstly they had a child and then they focus on a career, or first they made their career and then they want to have a family. And this is not only for women. I'm talking to CEOs and so on, and they're saying like, Monika, I thought that it would be easier. That first I wanted to my career, and now I'm saying like, oh, I missed maybe something.
One of the things you talk about, which I really am interested in unpacking with you, is your focus on joy. And what I find interesting is a lot of times in leadership conversations, we talk about culture, productivity, performance, efficiency, but you've decided to have a real focus on joy. How do you define joy in the context of leadership and work?
Yes, to find the way of doing what we really feel that we want to do. And I remember a sentence which my former boss told me when I was disappointed, I was, frustrated. And then he told me, at work, we want all the time to be happy. We sometimes need to do things, or maybe even not sometimes, we need to do things which we simply don't like, but then try to find and focus on things which really bring you joy. And that's why I try to show that we don't need to be very serious all the time, that we are humans, that we don't need to wear mask of perfectionist, of just being serious, not being able to joke. And I would say that this again coming with a cultural context, because I'm seeing this difference when I'm working, with different cultures, countries when I live. And this is where I learned this, that I don't need to be all the time, like very serious. So that's why I start bringing different perspective, that we can enjoy what we are doing. And if you don't find this huge passion of what you are doing, even at work, find this outside work, because I believe that we were taught that work and our professional life needs to bring all spectrum of emotions, to feel full our life. But I believe this is not true. That there will be some spectrum of, anger, frustration, sadness, happiness. And if you want to do something extra, do it. So I don't know, have some passion. Your work doesn't need to be your passion. As you know, we also were taught that, if you love what you do, you will never work. It's easier if we love what we do, definitely, because we are doing this every day. But it doesn't need to be your huge passion that, you can't, I don't know, sleep, eat because of this, because you will be so dedicated.
Sometimes it's hard to find joy at work. Do you think you can bring the joy you feel in your personal life and that will fill the gaps that you have in your business?
Definitely. So I would say that this two aspects in our private life and professional life, they are not separated. So emotions which we are holding in one place influencing others. So if we feel fulfilled with how we live, with people who we are surrounded, and the situation which we have, of course, then that work it's coming easier. The same in opposite. So if we are satisfied with work which we are doing, we can have more space for our private life. And this is what I'm also trying to show people, because even bringing the case of Poland, this fast development of the country, of people, it has huge impact on human behaviors and our psychological condition, because if you are so focused on achieving, working, building your career, then you don't really feel that you have space for other people. People became frustrated, right, and separating one from another.
You've worked now, have I got this number correct? You've worked with leaders from more than 60 different countries. Have I got that right?
Yes,
That's
yes, I was
unbelievable.
counting.
Amazing. Like that is amazing. What has that taught you about human behavior and leadership across so many different cultures, languages, how we do business, just life itself?
I would say that one common base which we have, it's human relationships. We're just looking for this differently. And some people looking for this, through being individual and achieving something, others working together and having this team spirit. And it showed me that on the needs, they are very common, they are very similar in each person. So we want to be heard, we want to be listened, we want to be accepted, we want to do good what we are doing. Just we show up, in the world with a different approach, I would say. And this is something what brings also a lot of misunderstandings. It's how how much we speak, how less, and if we are loud, if we are not, how we are understanding each other. So I would say that, yeah, the common ground, it's very similar, just how we present ourselves. It's way different.
What's the thing that most of us underestimate when we're leading across cultures?
Good question. Uh, I think also it's our power. Yesterday, I was working with a team from India, and director from this department sent one word, that relationship. This is the clue. And I would say that what we overestimate is the power, in the sense that if I tell you to do something, because we are in one organization, you have to do it immediately, or you have to do it anyway, because this is what you are here. And of course, this is the true, this is a task orientation, but I would say that behind this is always a human being. And what he even said, that, and that's why I'm quoting him, because it stayed in me, that we need to remember that there is a human, that we will anyway look from our emotional perspective. So if we build trust, if we build some relationship between one to another, this brings us more efficiency, more well-being to organization, to the team, to ourselves, because we simply like to do things with other people who we like. And even, of course, India has also different context. But yesterday I had a call with my colleague from the organization which we worked together some years ago. And this is what we spoke, like that we are happy that we are not working together for 6 years, we are still in touch, even that we went through very difficult, I would say, situations where there was a lot of emotions, anger between us. And he said, like, yeah, but it was also the environment which made us to sometimes talk to each other not nicely, not that we are like this, but the pressure which we felt. That's why I'm saying that, yeah, how we talk, how we see this human being should be more important, and then results, of course, will come.
Of the 60 countries, which one was the most challenging to work in?
I think that I don't have one which challenged me the most, because I like this diversity. Definitely one which was my turning point. It's China, because I moved there from Europe with European mindset, and then I am saying always that expect unexpected. So I was not prepared for different way of thinking, of leading, of cooperation between people, and it was new for me. So I would say that it was not challenging, it was very new, and from different aspects. When I'm working with teams from Africa, we are always laughing that, yeah, now it's African time. So I need to be more relaxed, and with Polish mindset where you just run
Yes.
somewhere from one place to another, it's way different. So I would say that, yeah, sometimes it might be challenging if I need to do something, very fast. But I learned to appreciate, to be part of this, not to push my way, because then I know that I don't succeed. And this is, I think, also what you asked me before. So what leaders overestimate is that their culture, their context is the one who is leading. Not always.
Do you think, well, I'm interested to know what your thoughts are as the workforce becomes more and more diverse, so, multicultural, multilingual, multi-generational, we've got workforces placed all over the world as such. What do you think are some of the cultural intelligence skills for leaders that will become essential?
Observe. For me, this is an essential skill which we need to apply if we want to be successful leaders, to observe your people, because not always what it's said, it will be the main message. So they need to be open for more contextual thinking. And of course, for some, it's very intuitive, because this is how they are and they were raised. And for some, it's something new. Other thing, also be curious, but in the sense to be curious to see the person, to see their perspective, to exactly to observe. And so, this is for external world, but as well be curious and understand yourself. I would say most of the difficult situations which we create, it's because we don't understand how our behavior, way of talking, of looking even at each other, influence the team. I really loved the research from Seagulls, which was saying that in 2 minutes we absorb emotions of other people when we interact with them. So of course, if leader, for example, is stressed, it's coming from difficult meeting, so team will feel it. And the opposite, if team is in a fear, they don't know what to do, leader will also feel this and then might, need to take all responsibility on themselves or herself. I would say that, yeah, just observe and be conscious of the system, what is happening there.
Has there been a leader or an organization in the different countries you've worked in that has really impressed you? And what were they doing to impress you so much?
I'm always looking the people with who I'm working, to take some features, so some aspects which I really like. So for my own career, unfortunately, I had more examples to show me what not to do.
What not to do? Most
What
of us
not to do.
have.
Yes, and this is the best, learning space. But if I'm thinking for what, there are some aspects. So, for example, when I worked with the team in Indonesia, so how my boss even he wanted us to be part of the team, to speak with the clients, to engage us in different aspects which we as a foreigners might not understand. Or when I lived in China, I met one leader. He was a CEO from US and he moved to China to run one of the subsidiaries which they opened some years ago, and I would say that he was the figure which left me with huge impression of how leaders should behave, that how to deal with these differences, how to be mindful and as well to take care of himself in that sense. So how he was doing this, because I remember we had lunch, so it was, over 11 years ago. And I still remember this conversation when he was telling me like, yeah, that he needs to have a really clear mind. He needs to take care of his health, of a relationship with his wife, because he's aware that, for example, if you're moving to another country, there's a huge percentage of the couples which they split. And this was even my research for my master, to see, what it was happening in expat lives. And yes, most of the people with who I had interviews, unfortunately, the relationships break as well because of moving to another country.
What do you wish more leaders stood about the people they lead?
Listen and don't judge that easily. So this is also what I'm showing and working with leaders. It's to see our brain traps. So how we have some shortcuts, what we are thinking, what we are doing. So be aware of what is happening. And I'm always saying that even now with a lot of access to AI, we need to learn how to stop and take very conscious decisions.
What human skills do you think leaders will struggle with perhaps over the next decade?
I think it's taking care of themselves, because the world which we are living now, it's not stopping. It's faster and faster. Even if we don't want to be, be part of this fast life, it is like this. How many information we are absorbing every day, which information we get on our phone. So I would say that people need to really focus on taking care of themselves, on their mental health, body health. And I would say that even from my story, learning to say no, not only to others, but as well to yourself, that we, this is something what is happening, especially in Poland. So if you had not a lot of options, so even when I was a child, so you were happy because everything appeared, right? So like new toy, the new working perspective and so on. So now if you are living in a world where is everything accessible, you just click and you have, you purchase things from other part of the world, even now, right, that we are connecting and we are in the other sides of the globe. So everything became accessible, and that's why we need to learn and choose. So what is good for me and what I want, because this is also my story, that I was, for the last 7 years, I'm saying that I took so many decisions, but I was not aware that those decisions might be wrong decisions, because in the past everything was, wow, you want it, so you have it. Now you have it, but then see
You
also
want
the
more?
outcome. More, and what is the outcome? It was really what you expected, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not always like this.
So what's next for you? You've worked in 60 different countries. You travel the world doing what you do, working with different leaders. What's next for you?
Next, I would say I'm learning to slow down in this sense and exactly choosing things which really fulfill me. So I still will work with global teams. I'm excited for new projects which are waiting there for me, but as well to find this balance. I'm now in the moment where I'm choosing where I would like to, settle down because I'm based in Poland, but I see that, I'm more often a day ported at home. So I need to find a place to really have my safe zone, and this is definitely Portugal for me. But last week I returned from Albania, and I'm amazed by this country. So I don't know if it's my new idea, to maybe move there for some time. I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, definitely to have these conscious decisions of my life where I'm going.
I get the feeling you're going to continue to travel. I can't see you having the life that you've led so far actually settling down anywhere. You've just in the last sentence said that maybe Portugal, but then Albania because that
Yeah,
looks
so
good as
I'm
well.
always, so I'm contradicting myself now.
Mm. My last question to you is, and it's something looking into the future, like with all the leaders that you've worked, I'm really interested from a European lens. How do you see the next few years shaping out for leaders as we head towards, the 2030 milestone?
We are saying in Europe that we became very comfortable with the place where we were for the last years because markets developed. People start living with quite good qualities. I would say more or less in all countries. It was safe for many
Mm.
years, but unfortunately, what we see now in the world is influencing the business here. So I would say that people start waking up like, oh, we need to start acting and thinking differently. So even bringing this example of China, of even India, so how this culture went through digital transformation, how they digitalize. We in Europe, we are, when we compare this, we are like, oh, we are not there, we don't
Mm.
have the same way of thinking of this progress. So I would say that what we need to focus even from European lenses and here in our European market, it's to go out a little bit from our bubble, which we were for the last years, and see that the world was not stopping, that we are not the only place, and we can't look only to the West, where we were always doing, but we
Yeah.
need to also see the global world and influences. And this is what I said before, to see the whole system, because the system, it's something which, yeah, influencing. And if you are just freeze, like what we did in Europe, then we are like, oh, we wake up and it's like, oh, the world looks different that we thought.
Monica, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you making the time early this morning on your end to jump on a call with us and have a conversation. All the best with everything that you're doing and all the travel that you have and all the countries that you have visited or yet to visit. And hopefully one day you'll come all the way out to Australia.
Yeah, I hope too. So this is the place where I've never been, so it's still on my list. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
If you like what you've heard, please share, rate, and review this podcast. And don't forget to share it with anyone who might benefit from hearing it. The producer of Future Fit Leadership is Maritza Barone from Guide Your Light Network. If you would like to reach out to me, please DM me on any of my social media platforms. I'm available for speaking at conferences or consulting to your business. Future Fit is created in partnership with Future Leadership, a capability ecosystem for boards and executives. If you'd like to join the community and receive a free takeaway each week, sign up to the Future Exchange app in my show notes. Thank you for having me in your space.
This is a Guide Your Light Network production, creating podcasts with purpose.